Welcome back to another meal prep video. In today's video, we're going to be making a chicken, mushroom, and broccoli casserole, as well as a homemade chocolate cake. And that's what we're starting out with right now. We are milling up some soft white wheat berries, about half a portion of those, along with a half a portion of barley berries. And the combination is going to create a nice flour for our cake. It's going to give it a lovely texture. It's going to be delicious. I personally did not know that you could use barley flour in cake recipes, and I was pleasantly surprised with the combo. It didn't have a funny taste or anything weird at all. It was a very delicious cake. So I encourage you to give some other grains a try when you are milling your flour, when you're making your cakes or your baked goods. Look into some fresh milled recipes and you will find that you can use so many different grains and the flours that you can produce with those grains to make a variety of delicious foods. I have found that my family enjoys fresh milled baked products more than the flour I buy from the store. We are going to forage through the pantry to get all of our ingredients gathered up, and I'm going to tell you what is in this cake right now. You need 2 cups all-purpose flour. I used the barley and soft white wheat berries to make my flour. 2 cups of sugar, 3/4 cups of cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of espresso powder, 1 cup oil. I'm using coconut oil today. 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, and 1 cup boiling water. You saw I had a whole bunch of butter there, and I am going to butter up my bundt pan really well, and then I'm going to coat it with a thin layer of flour, and I just do that by placing the flour in the bundt pan and shaking it around until it is nicely coated. And then I'm going to set that aside so that it's ready. When the cake is ready, when the cake batter is ready, we can just dump it in there and it's all set to go. I've also preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Also, I wanted to note that this cake does call for espresso powder and it calls for a cup of boiling water. So what you can do is you can brew your espresso or you can brew your coffee, and you can use 1 cup of hot coffee in this recipe, but I just used some decaf coffee that I ground in my coffee grinder to a fine grind, and that's just my preference to use decaf, but you don't have to, and it turned out lovely. I also used the same powder in our icing. The addition of the 1 cup of boiling water will make the batter look really soupy, but don't be alarmed. It's supposed to look that way and it's going to turn out delicious. The first thing you want to do is add all of your dry ingredients to a bowl that you can mix them into. I'm going to use my sifter and sift this fresh milled flour just to remove any chunks of bran. We do want this to be a nice, fine, cake-like texture. And if I had another sifter, I would sift it even further to make it closer to an all-purpose flour, removing much more of the bran. But for now, this flour sifter works fine to remove the larger chunks of the bran from the flour. I'm also going to go ahead and use this sifter to sift my cocoa powder because it's a bit chunky, and you might find that that happens quite a bit with cocoa powder. It tends to lump up, so we're just going to run it through the sifter real quick and get it into a nice fine powder. So we've added the 2 cups of all-purpose flour, the 3/4 cups of cocoa powder, and now I'm adding in 2 cups of sugar. Next, we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of this fine ground espresso powder. I'm using decaf. Next, we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Once you have all of your ingredients in a bowl, use your favorite stirring utensil to mix them up and get them well incorporated. Today, I'm using a whisk. The next step is to add all of your wet ingredients together and get them well incorporated. Now listen, I was going to use coconut oil for this recipe. You can see I have the bottle right there all ready to go, but the very last minute I decided to use butter. The reason why is because I got out so much butter from the freezer and I had way too much butter than I needed for anything else. So I decided I would do half butter and half coconut oil, because I need to use up some of this butter that's been melting on my counter. Goodness, this wood stove has it hot in this house. So there you go. That's why I used up some butter and did half butter and half oil. Next, we're going in with our 2 eggs. Now listen, I improvise a lot on my channel and in my recipes, and so far my intuition hasn't failed me once. So I don't think that this butter addition is going to be a problem at all. I think you could use all butter. I think you could use all oil, or if you're like me and your brain just functions with chaos, you can do both. Adding in the 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then we're going to combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. And I always pour my dry ingredients into my wet bowl. It just saves me on the dishwashing. I can spend less time washing my dry ingredients bowl because it's not all goopied up. And then I don't have 2 bowls with goop in them. If you're like me, give this video a like, leave a comment down below, say me too. If you saw the milk and you're wondering, well, Katie, where does the milk go in the recipe? It goes in right now. I did not write it on my recipe card. I'm gonna write it right now so I don't forget it next time. But we are adding 1 cup of milk to this recipe. Now for the fun part. I'm not even gonna do it bit by bit. We're just gonna go in all at once with all that flour concoction and mix it up with our ingredients. And you will see that at first it resembles a lovely cake batter. But wait. We've still got to add the boiling water, which is gonna turn it into a soupy mess, and you're gonna question your life choices. And you may wonder, why am I going down this path with Katie? She's leading me to destruction. But fear not, this is not a destructive path. This is a very productive path. And today we're gonna enjoy this delicious chocolate cake together. Yes, we are. We are celebrating my baby's 4th birthday. That is the reason for this delicious cake. And he is a little man after my own heart because he chose chocolate cake, and that is my favorite. So I'm really excited about how this is gonna taste once we crack into it. So here goes. Nope, I don't wash my measuring utensils in between measuring ingredients. I just tried to keep the wet ingredients measured in different cups if I still need to measure dry ingredients, because y'all know I don't like to wash dishes very much. So here we go. This is the soupy mess I was talking about. And I did question my life choices. I may have even thrown in some more flour because I was so concerned. But we're just gonna go with the flow here, and hey, it's soupy. We're gonna cross our fingers and pray and hope this turns out all right. But let me tell you, I was definitely skeptical. And I have made other chocolate cakes like this where you've made the addition of boiling water, and they were very soupy in the past as well. I don't think it was the same recipe. No, I don't think so, because I don't often write down recipes and do the same recipe twice. So it's quite possible it was a completely different recipe, but both required espresso and both required boiled water. And so I'm assuming they're gonna taste very similar. So over here, we've got our oven preheated. Into the oven goes our bundt cake pan, and you can use any cake pan that you like. I have to adjust my cooking time for this, or my bake time. So let's set it for 35 minutes, and then we're gonna do the toothpick check. I think I ended up staying in there for 45 minutes total with the bundt pan, and that cooked it through for me in my oven, this new to me oven that I'm still learning. So I went into the bundt pan with a certain amount of cake batter, and I thought, well, I have some left over. So I used a little Pyrex dish and put some cake in that. And then also, I made a little custard dish. So that's what you see me pulling out of the oven right there. I just added some eggs, some sugar, some milk. I can't remember what all I put in there. It was an experiment, but it tastes just like a creme brulee, or oh man, it tasted very much like creme brulee. So I can't tell you what I did there. It was just a hodgepodge of some leftover things that I had, and I put it all in a little Pyrex dish. It turned out delicious. Annika and I ate most of it because the other kids looked at it and they're like, ooh, that looks gross. Oh, it had a ton of butter in it. That's why. I didn't need the butter in that, but whatever I made in that dish that's on top of the stove was good. All right, this is the frosting that we made. The chocolate buttercream frosting was 1.5 cups butter, 1 cup cocoa powder, 5 cups confectioner sugar, a half a cup of milk, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, and half a teaspoon of espresso. And we're putting that on there now.
No, espresso. That doesn't even have a foot. Why?
I'm glad that you're not in your birthday.
Open it.
Here you go.
Stop the time. Okay. It's a sloth. Look at your little happy birthday sloth. Oh, I got money. $30.
30?
Whoa, look at that. Let's check out,
New.
let's read what it says.
It says, "Sloth puppy, happy birthday to Bodie. Hi Bodie, wishing you the best of everything. Happy birthday. Get mom or dad to take you shopping. I love you."
All right, once again, I bought a bunch of mushrooms and I haven't gotten to them. I haven't used them. I also have some Brussels sprouts that I need to use. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna blitz them in my food processor real quick. And I'm gonna add them to some cream and chicken soup that I just made from scratch. And I actually have that recipe somewhere on my channel. It's a few videos back. It's one of my family's favorite recipe casseroles. It's chicken broccoli rice casserole. Tonight we have what's left of that last bag of rice, broccoli when we used it. So I'm gonna use this, and then I'm gonna blitz. It's gonna be like a broccoli, yummy. Oh, I have to stir this because the flour is like burning on, not burning, but I need to remove it from the heat. So that's looking really good. That's some yummy goodness. And that is just, you know, chicken stock, celery salt, pepper, chicken bouillon, garlic powder, onion powder, poultry seasoning. And first you make a roux, you do butter and flour, and you cook the flour for a minute, and then you add your chicken stock, and then you add your milk, and then you add all your seasonings. And then so hopefully that's small enough that my kids don't really notice. When they say save the drama for your mama, what they mean is kids are only dramatic with their mamas. Anyways, that's what we're doing. All right, so now this is cream of chicken. Oh, now they're, oh, okay, don't break his new toy. So I used half a batch of Costco mushrooms, and so that should be good. Now it's like a creamy mushroom, and I added more chicken stock to water it down just a little bit. And then we are going to add the rice, the chicken, and pour it all in a casserole dish and cook it up. All right, next thing we're gonna do is just add the rice to this to get it incorporated and mixed throughout. Oops. I'm gonna put the chicken and the broccoli in the pan, and then I'm gonna pour this over the top. Oh, it's splattering everywhere. Oh my goodness, I have a mess. We are gonna cover this with some tin foil and bake at 375 degrees for, let's be honest, this took about an hour or so to cook. And those casserole recipes that say 45 minutes, most of them are lies. All my casseroles have taken way longer than that. So you just keep checking it until your rice is cooked, then it's done. Unfortunately, the birthday chaos got the best of me, and I did not film the finished product, but my family gobbled it up. They loved the mushroom chicken broccoli casserole, and I got everybody in my family to eat mushrooms. So it's a win, and I definitely think you should try this out. Making cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup is really easy, and it tastes phenomenal without the inflammation. Some cream of whatever soups in the cans do cause Aaron and I inflammation, so it's just better for us to be able to make the foods that we're going to be eating from scratch. All right, y'all, it is spring, but it's still snowing where I'm at. I hope you have beautiful weather where you are. I appreciate you hanging out with me today for this video. I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye.
I've seen this video.